He's a writer, he's a filmmaker, and more than likely he's an activist. He's been out there on the streets with us, and I thank him for that. Sex Positive STL has recently focused more on creating intention spaces for queer and trans folks to meet in public venues, and David's gonna be in an interview with Sayer talking to him a little bit more about that, so I'm just gonna toss it over to them right now so you can hear about the work that he's doing.
All right. Thanks, Lady Ashley. I'm here with my friend David. David, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm David Wraith. I am co-founder of Sex Positive St. Louis. I work in HIV prevention, and I sit on way too many boards.
Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed the segment that we just had, the Trans Jeopardy. How was that for you?
I was actually really nervous.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was surprised how nervous I was. We used to do a thing at Pride Fest called Wheel of Queerness, where I was the host, and I was just looking at the board and the buzzers, and I was like, man, we've come a long way technologically in 15 years, man.
Arissa did that, and they worked hours on that. It was pretty amazing.
I was very impressed.
And I learned some things on the trivia. I didn't know all the things. I didn't know Dr. Pepper here. I didn't know that either. All right. So, well, I appreciate you doing that because you came in the last moment to help us out with that, and we really appreciate it. Let's talk about Sex Positive St. Louis.
Sex Positive St. Louis is entering its 10th year. 2020 will mark our 10th anniversary. We just passed 5,000 members on our meetup group.
Dang,
so we're
5,000.
5,000.
Wow.
We're one of the biggest sexuality organizations on Meetup, not just in America, but in the world.
Another thing with St. Louis, y'all. St. Louis, okay.
St. Louis is hungry for this. We're hungry. We're ready for expanding our ideas of sexuality. And we're in Sex Positive St. Louis. We're here for you.
Yes. Okay, so 5,000 humans. What do you do with these 5,000 humans?
Well, our primary focus right now is live in-person events. We try to do at least a couple a month. We do educational events, usually at Shameless Grounds Coffee House. Shout out to Shameless Grounds.
Yes,
they're awesome.
Yes.
That's our home away from home as an unlanded organization. And we do happy hours at local bars in the city and county, and we do private parties. The goal is, when we first started, we were more internet-based, and we had kind of a national following, which was awesome. But we've kind of evolved as our local membership grew into more of a live event organization, and basically just creating spaces where people can get together, talk about sex, talk about sexuality, and try to make it as safe as possible for everyone, regardless of where you are in the sexuality spectrum, from monogamous, vanilla, married, heterosexual, asexual, all the way to kinky, pansexual, nudist, people like me. Super freaks, as I self-identify. And I want to dispel the myth that you have to be like a kinky, monogamous exhibitionist to be sex positive. All it takes to be sex positive is to have a healthy attitude towards sex and to not be judgmental of people whose sexuality is different from yours. That's all it takes.
Right on. That's good clarification. Tell me this. Compare an early on gathering that you would have at a public establishment to a gathering most recently at a public establishment.
Well, our first gathering was in 2010 at Foam Coffee House on Cherokee.
Oh, dang, and we're leaving us.
Yeah, we were really hoping that Foam was going to hang out until we could celebrate our 10th anniversary with them, because that's really where we started. Yeah, we're losing a lot of great spaces in St. Louis. But I mean, in the early days, it was more just about figuring out what the community needed. It was about gathering people, and I would just ask, why are you here? What brought you here? And the answers have changed over the years. In the beginning, a lot of it was about polyamory and BDSM, but now we've sort of changed our focus to addressing different types of stigma. We just had our last year for World AIDS Day, I think it was last year, for World AIDS Day, we had Nicholas Ather from Empower to Center for Sexuality talking about living with HIV. This year for World AIDS Day, we had our herpes hangout, which was a safe space for people who are HSV positive and their partners to just, get resources and talk to other people who are HSV positive to try to diminish the stigma around that sexually transmitted infection. So it's really been about expanding our reach as we've gotten bigger and a more diverse crowd and responding to the community. We have private parties where we have like burlesque and drag performers and performance art, and we try to keep it very diverse, different types of entertainment, sometimes that even our crowd might not be entirely ready for. Josh Spartan performed at one of our events this year, and not everybody was ready, but I was like, you know what, y'all gonna learn today.
Yes.
Because being sex positive, I think, to truly be sex positive, it means challenging yourself and stepping out of your comfort zone and engaging with people who are very different from you.
Yeah. So queer folks, how do we fit in? So it's just come as you are, engaging queer folks, Josh Spartan queer. And so that's challenged things, but you've also made room.
Absolutely.
You have conversations, or how do you create the safer space?
Well, I'm glad you said safer, because I don't like this term safe space. There's really no safe space. There's really no safety.
No.
We're all at risk, each and every one of us, even me as a heterosexual cisgender man, even though the risk that I'm at might be different from the risk that you're at as a trans expansive person. So I like to use the word intentional space, because I feel like a lot of people like to throw around safe space. They like to throw around, we're serving the gay community, we're serving the trans community, because they want those gay and trans dollars, or they want to be able to point to someone to be as their diversity. Oh, this person's here, we're diverse. Whereas what I think we have to do as an organization is educate our members as to what an intentional space or a safer space really means, so that when people come into our space, they really are safe or safer. And if something happens, which invariably it will, they don't, instead of running away and never coming back, they feel empowered to reach out to me or one of the other sex positive St. Louis leaders, knowing that we're going to address this and take it seriously and try to improve and make the space safer in the future.
Yeah, right on. That's great. So, okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about your day job.
I have a day job now.
How is that manifesting? How do you like that?
It's awesome because I was unemployed and underemployed and self-employed for a lot of years. And before that, I was in corporate America for 15 years, and that was really soul-sucking, but it paid the bills. And now I work for Williams & Associates.
Williams & Associates, yes.
So, and we have 2 drop-in centers, Rustin's Place on North Sarah, and Safe, a Rustin's Place in North County off of West Florissant and Dunn Road. And being in that position allows me to bring a lot of my advocacy, my public health knowledge, my sexual health knowledge into my day job for the first time in my life. And I do HIV testing, we do HIV prevention, we give out free condoms. If you need a condom hookup, holla at your boy. We got plenty of condoms for you. We got plenty of lube. We will hook you up. We can test you. You can know your status, and you can protect yourself and protect your partners.
Right on. That's beautiful. I love talking to you. I love the space that you take up. I appreciate your advocacy. You show up all the time, David, and that, to me, is such good allyship. You show up, you interrupt, you support, and you also know what lane to stay in when it's time to stay in a lane, right? And so that, to me, is good allyship. And one of the things that we're doing for folks, if I can get this, we get a local trans expansive artist to do art for us every year. This is the artwork from this year, and it says, "Your support is vital to our liberation." Maybe you have a spot at your day job that you can hang it up at.
Absolutely.
Or your home, but I just want to say and hold space for you, David Wraith. I love you. I appreciate you so much, and I just appreciate the space that you take up in our liberation and in our St. Louis life here together.
And if I may, Sayer Johnson, you are friggin', because we're live, you are friggin' awesome. I respect so much what you're able to do with MTUG and all the work that you do, so right back at you. You are an inspiration to me,
right?
100%.
That's lovely. Lots of love. Lots of love in this room. Yes. All right, David, that's for you.
Thank you so much.
And I think that we're going to be heading back in just a minute. I just want to encourage everybody to give what you can. We need your support. We do a lot of work with this money. Our liberation is happening right now, and we need these vital funds to continue doing the services and provide the love that we're providing for folks. Trans expansive humans in the St. Louis metro area, thank you. And we're going back to the big room.